Let's get into the latest on DaRon Bland here on the Cowboys Report. He is not expected to play / is not going to. It hasn't been officially ruled out yet against the Giants, and the reporting is he could very well miss a few weeks with a foot/ankle injury. Kind of weird to see the Cowboys announce this as a foot injury, and then some of our better reporters were like, yeah, it's also an ankle too, which still don't know specifically what the injury is, which raises some red flags for me. ESPN's Todd Archer does say the injury is not as serious as last year that cost him well over half the season. It is also unrelated to the stress fracture he had in his foot last year. So good news there. Also, it's different. So it's good news, bad news right there. Reportedly in a boot, return status and timeline remains unclear, and that's not great for the Cowboys for a variety of reasons here. So what is your concern level over the DaRon Bland injury? 1 to 10 is your scale, 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. So Bland has been healthy in college and everything, and early in his Cowboys career, got hurt last year, and now gets hurt again early in this season, right after the Cowboys pay him big-time money, which he's a good player. He's a great player when he's out there. I mean, he helped lock down the Eagles' passing offense, really. Now, it was zone coverage, but he did a good job playing inside and out. He also, the catches he allowed were to the running backs, like Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown didn't catch jack on DaRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs. But we haven't seen hardly any of Diggs and Bland together. I think the stat is like 4 games. I might be misquoting people on that, so apologies. So it was like 4 games over the past 2 years is all they've been able to play together. That's dumb. That's not fair, frankly. So Bland's not going to go. Trayvon Diggs will play. Kaiir Elam will play. Okay, they're the outside corners. The backup options are Trikweze Bridges and Reddy Steward, who joined the team right before the start of the season and haven't played a real NFL game. Like special teams, that doesn't count. The cornerback room, once again, because of injuries, is extremely thin. So do the Cowboys need to get another corner? This is the pinned comment on today's video. Y for yes, N for no. Do the Cowboys need to go get another corner? Y for yes, N for no. Let's look at some replacements for the Cowboys then at the nickel corner spot. Reddy Steward is on the active roster. We'll go more in depth on him in a minute. Zion Childress, the UDFA from Kentucky, made the roster initially, then got cut to make room for Steward. Both of these players, I feel pretty confident in saying, will be on the game day roster. Childress is at least going to be a practice squad call-up. Steward, of course, is already there. They'll be active. They don't have the depth right now beyond that. I hope they don't call up Robert Rochelle. It'd be kind of stupid. Steward, I think, is first in line. He's the one on the active roster. The Cowboys chose him over Zion Childress. So Steward, I think, is going to be the first man up here. I saw the photo Nick Harris posted of looking like Allen Iverson with the single shooting sleeve and the wristband on the kind of below the elbow. Hey, my boy Patrick Seatman over at our Vikings channel said he had a great preseason. Okay, hope that happens. Zion Childress. Okay. I thought he had a good training camp. I thought he earned his way onto the roster. Cowboys found a way to keep both of them. You guys haven't played real games before. And I think there is extreme downside to banking on them playing significant roles, but it's not like there are a lot of options, especially for week 2. For week 2, it's Childress and it's Steward. Those are your options. You don't have another viable outcome at this time. Now, you could still go sign somebody, but they're not going to be helping you in week 2. I'll mention the 4 big names that everyone likes to talk about. First up is Asante Samuel Jr. Now, of note for Asante Samuel, he has a CT scan scheduled for October after he had spinal fusion surgery. So he can't help you right now, period. He is not going to be available for probably 2 months at this point. So cross him off your list, just not going to happen. Stephon Gilmore, the other corner everyone gets linked to. He does help you. But he helps you on the outside. He knows your scheme. I think that is certainly valuable. But Gilmore doesn't contribute at all in the nickel. You're not putting Stephon Gilmore at his age, 35 season that he's at right now. you're not putting him in the nickel. That is a recipe for disaster. He does not play the nickel anyway. Like, he turns 35 in a week, by the way. So, like, he helps you on the outside, helps your depth there significantly, but he does nothing for you as a nickel option. Two guys who might. Kendall Fuller, first up here. He's got inside-outside flexibility. ESPN's Todd Archer mentioned him in the kind of preseason timeline as a potential cornerback option. The decline has very much set in. But you know what? When we are in early September, mid-September, we're in the beggars can't be choosers stage. That's just how it goes. The top nickel option would be Mike Hilton. And Hilton stands out to me as a coverage liability, we've talked about him before, but someone who can blitz, which the Cowboys, like Matt Eberflus, did it against the Eagles too. Did a lot in his last year with the Bears. He liked the nickel blitz. Hilton, I don't like him in coverage, but I do think he helps you as a run support player. But again, the options are limited. I think part of this ends up coming down to how long really is Mike Hilton going to be out? And if the answer is DaRon Bland, the answer is like 2-3 weeks, maybe you just try to survive. If it's a month or more, it's probably overdue to go get some help there. Now, today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. PrizePicks is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you could cash in. It's the best way to get in on action in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Here is my Cowboy-centric PrizePicks lineup. I'm taking the max discount Travis Kelce, a half receiving yard. I'm going to go with Brandon Aubrey, more than 2.5 point after, so I'm thinking 3 Cowboys touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, more than 76.5 receiving yards. Huge fan of that particular more than, less than. Go download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to the potential George Pickens extension here. Marcus Mosher over at Fans had argued, hey, a George Pickens deal could be happening. Maybe it increases the speed in which it gets done after other wide receiver deals. I have my doubts here, kind of significant doubts. Now, there were 2 wide receivers who got paid in recent days, Jameson Williams of the Lions and Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers. Williams is dealing left. Initially reported figures don't have in-depth details on that, so some of these might be funny money numbers, but it's only 3 years, so actually maybe not. $83 million, that's just under $28 million per year. $67 million guaranteed. Christian Watson getting a 1-year, $11 million deal with $6 million guaranteed. Of note, the Christian Watson contract has 0 impact on the George Pickens deal. There's none. Christian Watson is hurt. He is rehabbing. He may not play this year at all, period. I don't think anything about the Watson deal impacts any wide receiver unless Pickens were to get hurt tomorrow or in week 5, whatever, and they work out a little quick extension for him. Like, that's the only way it impacts it. You can throw it away. Does not matter. What does matter here are how the top wide receiver 2s in the NFL have been paid. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, the 1Bs, right? They're getting $28 million. Jameson Williams got 27. Devonta Smith got 25. Debo is an asterisk. The Commanders redid it a little bit, but he also got paid as the one in San Francisco. But make note of that, 23. Chris Godwin got 22, coming off of an injury, by the way. Devontae Adams got 22. A while ago, Christian Kirk got 18. Guaranteed money-wise, Waddle and Devonta above $70 million. T. Higgins way down there at 40.9, in large part because the Bengals do some weird structure stuff, and T, frankly, took less than he could have gotten. I don't think the Watson deal has any impact. The Williams deal might. He had a better season last year than Pickens did, but it's his first good season at long last in the NFL. It's also a first-round pick. Some more on this to come, but will the Cowboys extend George Pickens in season? A for yes, B for no. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I get the vibe that both sides are perfectly content to let this play out and check in again at the end of the season. And I think you can also make a very strong argument that's the right move for both sides. The Cowboys want to see how Pickens fits in. Does he do all the little things right that maybe he didn't do right in week 1? Pickens wants to see what his market looks like playing with the best quarterback he's ever had and the best supporting wide receiver he's ever had. I understand why both sides are down with it. That's why I'm not upset if the Cowboys don't get a deal with Pickens preseason. They don't need to necessarily. Right now, he's dirt cheap, $3.66 million. What matters here, though, is the franchise tag for 2026. The projected figure per over the cap is around $28 million. So that is a figure to keep in mind, because the second tag, which if you wanted to use it, you could, is $33.66 million. The Cowboys have kind of set themselves up to have the option to use the franchise tag on George Pickens. The other top free agents are Dante Fowler. They can do other stuff with Brandon Aubrey, Khair Elam, like Sam Williams. Like they can. The franchise tag, I think, would really only be used on Pickens. And if I were George Pickens' agent, athletes first grouping, by the way, I would not sign a deal for less than what that 2026 franchise tag cost is. Even if I'm not going to get that figure per year in the open market, I can either get tagged at the top end, wide receiver 2 rate essentially, or I hit the open market. When the cap goes up, you see overpays all the time in an iffy free agency group. And even if I'm not getting $28 million, I could probably still get 25. And that's probably more than what the Cowboys are offering me right now, and probably should be offering me right now. So the other options are old Mike Evans, Jacoby Myers, Juwan Jennings, Big Debo. I think this is why we're kind of just going to wait, and why there's not going to get a deal done early. Now, if you want more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos, hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos each and every single day right here on the channel. One quick note before we go. Clarence Hill, who overtweets at times, tweeted this out not long after the Cowboys, Bengals game, September 7th, either way, about Cowboys should trade for Trey Hendrickson. Cool. Sweet. How does that make any sense for Cincinnati? Why would the Bengals, who are 1-0, harboring legitimate playoff aspirations, trade away Hendrickson after they finally got him to show up, make an impact in week 1, and gave him more money? Why does that make sense for Cincinnati? The answer is, well, what if the Cowboys blew him out of the water with a big-time overpay? Why does that make sense for the Cowboys? Why would they give up, people like, throw in a future one for a 30-plus-year-old edge rusher? I don't want to do that. Who also wants a big-time contract? No. Does it really make sense for either side? If the Bengals collapse, we can revisit this idea. But right now, I don't get why it makes sense for Cincinnati, and frankly, why it makes sense for the Cowboys at this point. That race has kind of been run. You want edge help, and you got to go in a different direction.